the woman everyone wanted dead, until Jesus said these words, which changed the course of history and silenced the anger of the crowd in an instant.
She knew what they wanted to do. She could see it in their faces. She could hear the anger in their voices and felt the weight of their judgment. She knew what they wanted to do. She could see it in their faces. She could hear the anger in their voices and felt the weight of their judgment. She knew what they wanted to do. She could see it in their faces. She could hear the anger in their voices and felt the weight of their judgment. And as they dragged her through the streets of Jerusalem, she knew there was nowhere to run. She stood there silently while the angry crowd loomed over her. She knew what they wanted to do. She could see it in their faces. She could hear the anger in their voices and felt the weight of their judgment. A crowd surrounded her, their voices rising in a discordant wave of agitation that filled the ancient stone courtyard with a sense of opulence. Religious leaders stood among them, holding stones in their hands. They gathered in the ancient courtyard with faces marked by anger.
They had caught her in adultery, and according to the law, they believed she deserved to die.
But there was something they did not know, a hidden truth that would soon change everything they thought they understood about the world and their place within it. They were about to bring her before the one person who would see beyond her sin. Jesus. Little Jesus. They dragged the woman into the temple courts while Jesus was teaching. This moment marks a turning point in the gathering, as the crowd suddenly grew quiet. She stood there exposed, ashamed, and terrified. Everyone remained. One of the religious leaders stepped forward to confront the man, his finger pointed accusingly as the crowd watched the unfolding scene with heavy, silent anticipation.
Teacher, this woman was caught in the very act of committing adultery, so we brought her here before you to see what you have to say about this.
Then they reminded Jesus what the law commanded. They wanted him to condemn her, waiting in silence to see what he would say about the difficult situation. But they weren't only testing the woman. They were testing Jesus.
If he told them to stone her, they could accuse him, and if he told them to let her go, they would say he was breaking their ancient laws. If he told them not to, they could accuse him of breaking the law, and that was exactly the trap they were hoping to set for him today. Everyone waited for his answer. But Jesus said nothing.
Instead, he bent down and began writing on the ground. As he continued to trace symbols in the dust, the crowd around him became increasingly. They kept demanding an answer. But Jesus remained silent.
Then he stood. He looked at the people holding the stones. Their gazes met his, and as the weight of the moment passed, and he said, "He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her, for we are all human and subject to our own flaws and failings in this life." Silence. Nobody moved. The stones that had been raised in anger suddenly felt very heavy and impossible to hold as the tension in the dusty air dissipated. One by one, the accusers began walking away. The oldest left first. Then another. This moment of silence.
Until the woman was standing there, alone with Jesus.
Jesus looked at her. "Where are those accusers?"
She looked around. "There are none, Lord."
Then Jesus said something that changed her life. "Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more." Her heart. Jesus did not pretend her sin didn't matter. He didn't tell her that sin was acceptable. He gave her something far greater: mercy.
And then he gave her a new direction: go and sin no more. It was a moment of profound change that would forever alter the course of her life.
Maybe you've made mistakes you wish you could erase. Maybe people know your past. It is often the weight of these moments that defines our true journey forward. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you've gone too far for God to forgive you. It is never truly the case, as there is always grace available. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you've gone too far for God to forgive you. It is never truly the case, as there is always grace available. But this story reminds us that Jesus sees the person behind the failure. He does not excuse sin, but instead offers a path toward redemption and grace.
But he offers mercy to the repentant. The same Jesus who stood between that woman and her accusers still calls people to repentance, forgiveness, and transformation today.
So don't let your past convince you that your story is finished. Because sometimes, the most beautiful chapters are the ones we have yet to write for.
This is the moment Jesus is ready to restore you. If this message touched your heart, take a moment to pray, reflect, and find peace in your spirit today.